The best way to start a new year on the right foot is to know how to close the previous one in the most powerful and positive way. So let's close this year, this cycle together, knowing that we've done our best and that we have accomplished another year. Hello, my name is Tanya Meyer, and I'm an English teacher to adults. And so, if you're looking for ways of improving your English, overcoming that intermediate plateau, and becoming proficient, then you're in the right place. So, bringing the year to a good close. How do we do that? Bringing a year to a good close involves several things. The first is that we are able to sit and to think, to reflect back on the year and also to take some notes. And by doing this, by thinking, by reflecting, and by writing, especially if you're able to do it in English, then this is a wonderful way of practicing and of closing the year in such a way that you set yourself up for a successful new cycle, new year. So the idea is that we bring an open and friendly attitude to this exercise of closing the year. And we're going to be doing this over the next few days. So make sure that you have a piece of paper, a pen. Perhaps you already started a journal during this year. So bring out your journal, or perhaps this is a great time to start a new one. Even if you've never journaled before, trust me that sitting down and writing is a great way of processing not only language, but the ideas. And so you're doing lots of things at once when you sit, when you think, and then you write, and then you review, and then you rewrite, and so on. This is a wonderful way of keeping ourselves on track and creating a vision for ourselves, and really doing our best for the year to come. Now, some people prefer to have an online journal, prefer to write their thoughts online. If you prefer that, that's fine. But I have heard from neuroscience that actually physically writing with a pen and paper is what happens is that by creating the words, then you're sending the signal, up your arm into your brain, and you're kind of setting up the reality that you want to create by doing this exercise. So I recommend a physical journal or diary, but if you prefer to work online, that's fine too, as long as you do this exercise over the next few days. Okay, but don't just think about it, actually do it. Get a piece of paper, a journal that you've started, or start a new journal and actually do these exercises, okay? I invite you to sit with your own thoughts and to reflect, and then to actually write some notes. And you will be amazed by everything that you have accomplished, and also you'll be amazed to know, as you're writing and reflecting, all the possibilities that are opening up for you as you do this exercise. So if you haven't done it yet, get yourself a pen and paper in whatever form, even if it's online, and let's get started with the first step. If you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button and invite the bell to be notified every time I upload a new video on learning and using English in real life situations. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is grab a new piece of paper or a new page in our journal, and we're going to write as a title, wins or accomplishment. If it's the end of a year, we can write the year. And then we're going to make a list of all our accomplishments, all our wins, everything we've done over the course of this last year that we are happy about, that we're proud of, and that we can celebrate because we've made an effort and we know that we've done our best. So it might be, a little bit daunting to sit down and to think back 365 days. Okay, so where to start? And I would advise us to start with micro wins. So things that we've done, for example, every day or almost every day, and that have really contributed to our well-being over the course of the year. So let me give you an example. Something I do as soon as I get up is that I make my bed. So making my bed really makes a difference because I don't have to worry about making my bed later. It's something that's done and it's ready for me to go to bed in the evening that day. So it really is a win for me to make my bed every day. And it's something that I can write down as a micro win in that first list. And things like, cooking meals or taking the garbage out or even just showing up. These are things that, many times ourselves and other people can take for granted, but it takes an effort to do this. Things that we need to do every day to feed ourselves well, to think about our health, to go to the supermarket, yes, to take care of our children, to take them or bring them back from school, to help them with their homework, to make sure that our pets are well taken care of, that they're well fed. All of these little things that we do every day and that contribute to our overall well-being. Something else we can think of is our personal wins over the course of the year. So, for example, you might have started or you might have continued with a regular meditation practice. If meditation is something that you have practiced over the course of this year, then this is definitely something that you want to write down in your journal. And if you haven't, then this might be something that you want to think about for the coming year, because what mindfulness does is that it helps us clear our mind, it helps us calm our racing thoughts and our emotions, and it just sets us up for a much more constructive and productive day. So if mindfulness practices is something that you have incorporated into your daily life over the course of this year, then that's something that you might want to add. Perhaps you've spent some time in nature. Yes, we know that in our busy lives, especially if we live in the city and we're going to and from places, or we're just at home and perhaps we don't have an outside area, perhaps we live in an apartment or a flat, then we don't have that much contact with nature. But if you've made the effort to go to a place, a park, an outdoor area regularly over the course of the year, where you can really take in, the calm and the stillness and the sounds and the just the freshness. If you've done that regularly over the course of the year, then that's something else that we can add. Perhaps you've just enjoyed beautiful sunsets or beautiful sunrises, and you've really taken it in, just silently observing the beauty of nature. So if that's something that you've been able to do over the course of the year, then it might be something that you want to add. Now, what about your professional life? Perhaps you've been promoted. Perhaps you've started a new job over the course of this year. Perhaps you've developed professionally in such a way that you've gained clarity over your career path. Perhaps you feel that you're on the right track and you want to continue on that track. Perhaps now you realize that, well, actually, no, maybe next year I want to try something different. So that's something that you've only been able to understand thanks to the experience you've had this year. So making a note of that, coming to the understanding that you want to change, then that is also an accomplishment. What about your relationships? What about your finances? What have you done this year that you've enjoyed? And one way in which you might be able to remember, and this is something that I did, the way I've done it is I've kind of looked at my mobile photos over the course of the year. I've looked at my calendar as far as bookings and speaking with people, and I've also looked at my kind of on the wall calendar, my personal calendar, and taken a look at all of those over the course of the year and really realize how much I've done and how much I've enjoyed this past year, despite the difficulties that continue to be with us, all the challenges that we're facing. And yet I see that it has been a much more productive year than I would have otherwise had if I did not have this intention to keep track of how things are going. So I really want to recommend that you take some time to do this. So what have you enjoyed? What are you happy about? What accomplishments are you proud of? And then once you have your list, then it's a time to just sit with it. Sit with your list, and over the course of a day, just look at everything that you have written and make sure that you leave some space, because I can guarantee that even if you take quite some, a quarter of an hour, 20 minutes to write down a list, to look through your various diaries and your photos and all of that, I can guarantee that as we continue with this process, there will be other ideas, other memories will come to your mind, and you'll be able to add to whatever you've written already. But for now, once you have sufficient information there to make you feel, actually, this has been pretty good. I've done a lot, and I'm happy. Or maybe you haven't, but whatever you have been able to do definitely celebrate yourself and acknowledge your own effort, because it's so important that we acknowledge our own progress as we set goals for ourselves and reach those goals and even surpass our own expectations. So sit with your list and enjoy it. So if you're watching this, you probably have a roof over your head, you probably have clothes to wear, you've probably got food in the fridge to eat, and you're probably somebody who is paying the bills and just keeping on top of things. Paying like the medical insurance, paying our taxes, paying car insurance, and just making sure that we're in that flow and that we're able to cover our needs. And that is a huge win in itself. So is any of this resonating with you? If it is, then I'd love to hear from you. Why don't you think about one thing that you're happy that you achieved this year, and write a comment below. There is a section under this video where you can just say hi and write one thing that you've done this year. I will be so happy to read your one accomplishment. Okay, so once you've done that and you've got your list of wins down on paper, It's something that you can look at again and again over the next few days. But for now, what we're going to do is on a new sheet of paper or on the next page in our journal, we're going to now acknowledge everything that we have not necessarily been able to achieve, things that we're not necessarily happy about, and things that we still have a little bit of work to do on. And the purpose here isn't in any way to berate ourselves or to punish ourselves. I mean, this isn't martyrdom. We don't want to be harsh on ourselves. On the contrary, we want to be as friendly, as understanding, and as compassionate as we can towards ourselves, because as soon as we're able to be compassionate and understanding towards ourselves, then we are much more able to be open, friendly, and understanding towards others. And we know that we're not perfect and that sometimes we have too many balls to juggle, too many balls in the air, and one might have fallen. Or we might have felt a little bit tired, a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit just not in the mood to do things sometimes, and that is okay too, you know. But what we want to do now is to make an honest list. We're going to take an honest look at ourselves now, and we're going to make a list of those things that we are not so happy about. So in this new page, we're going to write everything we can think of that we intended to do and didn't quite complete, or anything that we wanted to do and then didn't quite get round to it, including, for example, any fallouts that we had with any, with family members or with friends. Were there any misunderstandings? Perhaps professionally we made some mistakes, and what we want to do is really we want to own, ourselves completely. Not only the good things, the things that we're proud of, but also, with honesty, we want to confront those areas of our lives that we might still need to work on. But again, with a friendly and open attitude, with an attitude of understanding and compassion. And when we've completed this step, then again, it's time to sit with our list and to review it item by item. We're going to look at what we have written, and we're going to mourn any losses that we might have had. We're going to, instead of running away from this pain or from these unpleasant feelings, we're going to make the effort to stay with them. So we're going to stay with this list, and we're going to acknowledge each item for a few minutes, for as long as we want, to just sit and really, just take it in and just be with it, so that we can then let it go and start afresh, start anew. But we cannot start anew without acknowledging, everything that is good and everything that is not so good. So acknowledging the totality of our experience over the last year is really going to help us to move forward in such a way that we've healed any open wounds or injuries. We're going to take the time to sit and heal and be compassionate, be understanding, be friendly towards yourself. And then, as a final step, we can start thinking, start creating a little bit of clarity for the year ahead. So, how can we do this? Again, new piece of paper, new page, and we're going to start thinking about our life's purpose. Now, many of us, we just take each day as it comes. You know, we get up and we do whatever we need to do, and then the next thing. But really creating a sense of purpose for ourselves, or listening in stillness to what life is telling us, because I can assure you that life is giving you some messages wherever you are. So sitting and listening to those messages is a way of creating clarity for what lies ahead. So when thinking about your life purpose, sit and ask yourself these questions. What is showing up for me in life? What is life telling me? And if you do get a very clear picture or a very clear message, what life is telling you, I would love to know. So please comment below and share with us what your life purpose is. Another way of referring to it is to call it your calling, right? So what is your calling? So in my case, my calling is to be as helpful as I can as an English language teacher to adults, in such a way that reflective and contemplative practices are incorporated into the learning process in the service of efficient, productive, fluent, articulate language acquisition and use in real life situations. So the important thing here is to think about what we want our life to look and feel like in the coming year. So this question of how we want to feel, it's really important that we incorporate that into our reflection notes. How do we want to feel around family, for example? Maybe we want to move closer to our family. Maybe not. Maybe we want to distance ourselves from family. Whatever it is that we want to do, like being radically honest with ourselves and making sure that we understand what we want to do and why, and especially how we want to feel. What about friends? What about our social relationships? What kind of community do we want to belong to? What about our livelihood? That's what we do for a living. Are we happy in the career that we're in? Are we happy with our professional choices? Or is it time to move, to retrain, to do something different? What do you want your professional life to look and feel like? What do you want to focus on in the coming year? Don't make it a very long list, just one or two things, maybe three at the most, but make it a very short list of things that you are going to give absolute priority to. What are those things for you? Maybe you want to start a new business. Maybe you want to relocate. Maybe you want to start a family or do a better job as a parent. I mean, whatever it is that you want to do, just be playful, and make sure that you get that clarity. Ask yourself, what am I going to do this coming year? And start creating a sense of clarity for yourself as you bring this year to a close. Remember to write your thoughts down. Don't just think them and think that's enough. It isn't. You do need to think about them, but then make sure you write them down as well. And after you've written, then review and rewrite. This is an ongoing process. So it doesn't really matter that much what you write. If you are consistent in reflecting and writing, then you will be amazed at what you create for yourself and those around you. And if English is on the menu for you next year, I would love to help. If anything I've said in this video strikes a chord and you would like to work with me, then make sure you look for my 8 steps to revolutionize your English guide, which I'll leave a link to below. And if you're ready to save your seat in my program, Confident English Training, I'll also leave a link below for my availability over the first 2 weeks of January for you to get yourself in touch with me. And I look forward to speaking with you over the next couple of weeks. See you soon.